the film that started me, that I decided I wanted to do films, was Lawrence of Arabia. I saw that on March the 1st, 1963. I know that date because I found a diary I was keeping when I was 13 years old. I opened it up on that date, and it mentions that I saw that movie. And then for the next week, I do nothing but write about that movie. There was nothing else in my life. And I think that's the one I said, now, directed, the director, okay, who is this guy, David Lean? And then from there, and who's Freddie Young and these people. And I remember one of the first films I ever did was I was working in the advertising department of Famous Players, which is the largest theater chain in Canada. But I also knew all the people at the various film exchanges like MGM, Warner Brothers, and so forth. And Ryan's Daughter was being released in 1970. And they were sending over, surprisingly, to promote the film, Freddie Young, the cinematographer who shot Lawrence of Arabia, Dr. Zhivago. And they didn't know what to do with him. I mean, nobody, the press was, who's Freddie Young and why would we want to talk to him? I went to them and I said, give him to me for the day. And I arranged with Sheridan College, who was by that time had a film course. And I said, I'll bring Freddie Young out. What we'll do is we'll film the interview of him there, and I'll put together a film using the interview and some clips that the various people would supply me with. When Freddie arrived, he just hated it. And I said, no press, no nothing. Tomorrow we're just going out and you're going to help me make a film about you. And he said, what do you mean? I said, well, I don't have a cameraman to shoot it. And since you're a cameraman, I need you to light it. So the film became about Freddie Young working with the students, showing them how to light a very simple thing, his own interview. And it got written up in American Cinematographer and so forth. And but I mean, it was great to spend a day, and we corresponded off and on over the years. And he was wonderful. And I think in his very slim autobiography, he mentions that day at Sheridan College, in amongst the 100 films he shot, he mentions the one that I got him to shoot.
That's awesome. Well, Freddie Young may, in many people's mind, be the best cinematographer that ever lived. And he certainly had some accomplishments that make that argument. I mean, James Wong Howe, there's a lot of the greats that kind of pioneered, this touch of magical invention to their work. But without a doubt, the whole Lawrence of Arabia, I mean, I've had this discussion where, is it where Lean meets Young, or is it all Young convincing Lean, or how do they come up? Just take the shot where Sharif arrives.
Bitte. Who is he? Tapas!
is dead.
Yes. Why?
This is my well.
I have drunk from it.
You are welcome.
He was my friend.
That?
Yes, that.
This pistol yours?
No, his.
His?
Mine.
Then I will use it. Your friend was a Hazmi of the Beni Salim.
I know.
I am Ali ibn al-Kharish.
I've heard of you.
So, what was a Hazmi doing here?
He was taking me to help Prince Faisal.
You have been sent from Cairo.
Yes.
I have been in Cairo for my schooling. I can both read and write. My Lord Faisal already has an Englishman.
Yes.
What is your name?
My name is for my friends. None of my friends is a murderer.
You are angry, English. He was nothing. The well is everything. The Hazmi may not drink at our wells. He knew that. Salam. Hut, hut, hut.
Sheriff Ali, so long as the Arabs fight tribe against tribe, so long will they be a little people, a silly people, greedy, barbarous, and cruel, as you are.
Combination. Lean was very good with cameras and that. And I mean, Freddie Young started in 1917. So he had a fairly long career. They'd actually worked together. Lean was an editor and Freddie was a cameraman. This is in the late 30s. And they had a fight over something and disliked each other. And Lean was not happy about Freddie Young coming onto it, but Freddie Young was one of the few guys that knew how to shoot 65 millimeter negative. All the other cameramen were busy at the time. So they got in sync very quickly. And Freddie Young was incredibly inarticulate about explaining the art of cinematography. He was a technician. He could go in and do the job. And you'd ask him about the lighting of a certain scene. You couldn't ask him about the nuance. He said, well, you know, we'd have this, and I thought I'd use an inky over as an eye light. And he'd only talk about it in technical terms, and yet the image was pure artistry. And he looked at the director's the boss. He tells me he'd like this shot coming out of the desert and so forth. And knowing this, Young went to Panavision LA to get the equipment for the film. And he asked the guy at Panavision, what's the longest telephoto lens you have? And they gave him one. I'm not sure what it was, a 400, maybe an 800 millimeter lens. And he said, well, give me that, because I think we're going to be using that. So it was a combination of the two of them working together. When Lean said, do you think we can do this? And he pulled out the 800 mil lens. He said, David, take a look through here. What do you think? And and from there on, they were just in sync the whole time. I mean, he always worked with Freddie Young. And I think on Passage to India, he would have gotten Freddie Young, but Freddie by that point was 85 or so. And he actually hired Freddie Young's camera operator to be the DOP on Passage to India, because the operator had worked on all the other films and Lean knew him and trusted him. So it's a combination of a brilliant technician and David Lean getting together to pull it off.
Do you have a favorite moment from Lawrence of Arabia?
Beginning to end. I mean, there are so many incredible things in that film. And after making films for a while, I look at that film and go like, how in the hell did they get some of the stuff they did, considering they're out in the desert, it's 130 degrees. You're working with 65 mil cameras, which are huge. You have two camels going across a desert, huge landscape, and their prints there's no other footprints on that desert. And then you go, take two.
Yeah.
They have to go out and for every shot. Yeah. And Lean is a perfectionist. If the two camels were blocking, you'd have to do another take. And I have read about the props man, who was another good friend of Lean, who would find locations and so forth, whose name unfortunately escapes me at the moment, but they'd get powder puffs and they'd be out there combing the desert. Take two, take three, take four. I mean, just unbelievable what they had to go through. And I just find there's just nothing out of place in that movie. And again, great script.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I've actually compared the script to the real life notes on Lawrence to kind of make a comparison with how much of it follows the accuracy. It's very interesting, both the real life and the movie and the production of the movie. I think it was production designer John Box who told the story about the scene with the armored car rattles into the shot, and David Lean is insistent. It's built by Rolls-Royce, that when it comes to a halt, the R has to be perfectly vertical.
Right.
And they spent all day, something you do in post today, right? Famous line, and they kept doing it over and over and over again. And John Box is like, no one's going to ever see that or notice that. But Lean's response is, I'll notice it. I'll see it.
Exactly.
And that's, making movies basically for himself first.
They were known as Lucifer and the Men with Painted Faces when they burned New Orleans to the ground. And when they sacked Panama, I knew that my road to redemption would be paved with tombstones. And by the time they brought the apocalypse to West Africa and the Indian Ocean, I would come to know two words with biblical significance. No quarter. No quarter. Kill All Masters. Rated R. Coming soon. Available on all platforms. Visit noquarterkillallmasters.com.